So, what's up, everybody? Hey, welcome to our Wellness 360 Live. If you're on this call right now, that means that you're someone that maybe a friend of yours talk about these quote unquote skinny drops, body balancing drops. Maybe you're on them. Maybe you're here because you just want to learn more about wellness and everything. Well, you picked a really good one to come onto because tonight is going to be one you're going to want to have a notepad and a pen or your phone or your mind open because you're going to get some mind-boggling information because we're going to have an opportunity to pick the mind from somebody that's transformed so many people's lives. Miss Sherry Keye, all the way in the East Coast. Sherry, thanks for joining us this evening. How you doing, first of all? How you feeling? I'll chat more with you in a bit, but just to welcome everybody.
Hey guys, so glad to be here. Excited to be invited. Um, James, I don't know if you remember this, but the last time you had me on, we had a tree fall at our house and take out our internet, and I had to go searching for a signal. So I did this call from my car, and it was dark. It was very interesting. I don't know if you remember that or not, but
I do. And you crushed
yeah.
it, by the way. You crushed it, you know?
Yeah, we made it happen. We made it happen, but goodness gracious, nothing like being under a little pressure like that. So,
Well, if you did that amazing under pressure, I'd imagine what tonight's going to be all about as well, too. And I'll bring you back up in just a bit. But I just want everyone to see the amazing Sherry here. And just a little introduction. If we haven't met, my name is James Zheng, co-founder of this community. We've been dealing with these drops ever since they've come out. It's been 12 years. So we've seen a lot, we've learned a lot, but found we found certain principles that if you apply them are going to help you to balance your body the best. They're going to help you release weight the best. They're going to help you feel great. And more importantly, take control back on your body. I got introduced to this and I was super skeptical, as I'm sure many of you would be as well too. And I got scammed out of 25 pounds in 40 days and it changed my life forever. I'm Asian, if you couldn't tell. So I used to crave rice. And I was amazed when I used the drops, I stopped craving them. We'll talk about that with Sherry today about rice and these types of things as well too. But I describe the drops as helping you make these shifts that we all know to do easier and also faster as well too. And that's why today I wanted to bring up Sherry to really share some information, her background, her story, and also some key tips as well too, because we all know that health is the drops are something helpful. If you're not familiar with them, they're body balancing. You just take them on your tongue a couple times a day. They support the hormonal balance. They help you to curb the cravings. You feel better. Lots of things happen. And those that take the drops, they do lose weight 2 times faster than just diet and exercise. But also, what our mission is this is not that you keep on eating Big Macs and French fries all day. Nothing wrong. And we're not condemning. We all start somewhere. But it's important that we understand what foods are actually doing for us. Like, how are they benefiting us? There's something on the approved food list in this program. And throughout coaching tons of people, the number one question that we get is, why is this on the list? Why is this not on the list? Why is the approved food list the way that it is? And that's why I want to bring up Sherry Keye because she is an expert on this. I'm going to share your slide with your story here because I still can't believe that this was you before, but you shot this to me and I know you as you now, but can you tell us a little bit about just your health journey and what happened here?
Hey guys, so yes, oh my goodness. Um, that picture on the left was me in 2014. So 10 years ago this summer. And what I like to let people know is that weight was not something that I struggled with at all throughout my life. That's not part of my story, my journey. But I did find that as I got into my late 30s, really early 40s, as life got busier, I'm a mom of now 2 adult children, but at that time, very active teenage girls who were in sports, and we were a busy family, like so many of the families out there. And whether we preferred eating at home or not, we were in a position where I felt like we didn't have much options but to go through, fast food restaurants and just be on the go all the time. And so what that did eventually is begin to add pounds. And, it wasn't a big weight gain in a short period of time, but it was just gradual and gradual to the point that I didn't even realize that I had gotten to that place. And so in my early 40s, I just kind of recognized that, wow, like all of a sudden I'm a size 14. And at one point I'm 5'7", so kind of a taller girl. So I could carry it well, as they say. But I was pushing 200 pounds at that point. And this picture on the left, I'll tell you what I see in that picture is somebody who was very active. I've always been a very active person, energy wise, I guess you would say. But I lacked confidence at this point. You can see the shorts that I'm wearing are down to my knees. I'm very active in summer camp ministry. And so both of these pictures, the one on the left and the one in the middle, were taken as group pictures with some of my teammates, leadership team. And I see, the length of my shorts there. And man, I hated putting on a pair of shorts. Even more than that, I hated putting on a bathing suit and having to get out of the water if I had on a bathing suit. And you grab that towel or that cover up as quick as possible. And it just takes away your confidence. And so when I see these pictures, that's a big part of what I notice is the difference between that picture on the left and the one in the middle, which is 50 pounds difference as far as weight. But I immediately see a difference in confidence. Obviously, shorts that are more of a length that would be considered shorts. And, just feeling so much better about myself. My journey also includes just that realization that as I got older, that my family history kind of, was looming. My dad passed away at the age of 56. I was 20 years old. And at a 20-year-old believes a 56-year-old to be old. And, I just felt like that was an old age. At the time of his passing, he had heart disease. He was a diabetic. You wouldn't look at him and think that he was really unhealthy, but he had some very unhealthy habits in his life that just sort of caught up with him, I guess you would say. And unfortunately, it took his life through heart disease at 56. But as I got into my 40s and I really started paying attention to the fact that his health history felt like, it was something that was weighing heavy on me. My mom was also a diabetic. And I felt like that these were things that I had to write on my family history that I did not want to have to pass down to my two daughters. And so for me, that became my why. I know that's a big part of making the decision to embark on any kind of journey, but especially a health journey, is you have to have that reason why. And for me, it was my family for sure. I did not want my girls to have to go through what I had to go through with parents that had health issues. And so that's where it started for me. I really knew nothing about nutrition. I was what I would consider a good eater. I wasn't a picky eater at all. I grew up with a family that had a massive garden. We rarely ate out. We had canned vegetables under every bed and in every closet, stacked up in all the places. Some of you guys can identify with that. So I never struggled about eating good. But I really did not understand nutrition. I'm in the South. I'm in the East Coast, and we had to have a piece of bread with every meal. I mean, that was just it was an unspoken rule. And grandparents, we cook big meals and lots of butter and all the things that make it taste good, or at least that's the perception there. But it really does cause some unhealthiness in the family. And so so that's kind of where it started for me, and my eyes were just opened when I started learning about nutrition. It was just a game changer, a complete game changer for me.
So amazing. I can't believe those photos still. Like, you look like you reversed 50 pounds release. Congratulations on that. And you've literally broken family family generational curses and habits and everything. And what's amazing, guys, you may not know this, but after you started getting into nutrition, you also became a health coach. You ran a program called Your Next 56 Days. And correct me if I'm wrong, like you literally coached and transformed cities and communities so much that even restaurants adopted Slenderize approved menus. Is that right?
Yes. So I did not create the next 56 days, but I was very actually close friends with the lady that co-founded that program, and it was close to the city that I live in. So it was definitely, a part of this community, a big part of this community. And thankfully, I was able to get involved with that program not within the first year that it was created. And so, kind of came in on an entry level, I guess you would say. And yeah, the program was created around the foods list. I'm glad that you mentioned earlier that the drops have been around for 12 years. A lot of people think that because of the excitement, the momentum that surrounds them, that it's a new product, but it's not. It's been here for 12 years. And the drops were a part of my beginning in my personal transformation, along with the foods list and learning how to make good, healthy choices. I use the drops and then a couple of other products that also come from the same company that are offered by the drops to be able to make that transformation.
So huge. So let's talk about this food list, guys, because if you can change the mind of a southern restaurant to adopt a healthy move food list, like what's my excuse, So I'm going to share the screen on here because I mean, let's be real. I think all of us would love it if there's just a magic pill and a magic thing where you could eat whatever and like life's going to be good, but that's also not the right message as well too. The body is amazing and there's certain things that will help it to balance and to release weight and everything. So here's the approved list. So my question to you, Sherry, is on this is what's the psychology behind why this is designed the way that it is?
Yeah, so there's actually a couple of really important things to understand about the foods list and some of the conversations, actually probably hundreds or thousands of the conversations that I've had over the years of helping people to really transform their health and their weight with this foods list. The first thing is that this list was designed to get you maximum results. And I know that, we have that tendency to want to understand. We want to say, why this, why not that? But at the end of the day, there was a lot of research and a lot of study that went into creating this list in order to get you maximum results along with the drops. So I do think that it's part of our responsibility to trust the process and to not really try to change things up. I know that's something that we just kind of naturally want to, like I said, we want to do. But the basis of the list really does go back to blood sugar levels. Learning how to balance blood sugar is a critical part of being able to have hormone balance, to be able to have the ability for your body to reach an optimal weight. And so this list has been designed primarily to help you balance your blood sugar. There's definitely people who, specifically that benefit from this, people who have insulin resistance, people who are overweight, people who have type 2 diabetes. This program for sure targets those people and can benefit those people the most.
Mhm.
Glycemic index is a big part of the choices that are made with this too. I know one of the questions that is asked a lot is about the fruits. I think most of us understand that fruits are natural and they have natural sugars. So why then are not all fruits approved? Because all the foods have what's called a glycemic index, and glycemic index is an indicator of how your insulin levels respond to sugar or glucose, and it's something that can be tested and determined as far as the glycemic index levels. It's a number that's assigned, and that's something that if you're curious, I encourage you to go and look that up. But the fruits that are on this list are the fruits that are the lowest in glycemic index, which basically means that it's going to help to keep your blood sugars low. Like there's less of a peak that happens. Things that are higher in the glycemic index have a tendency to spike your blood sugars very, very quickly. So it's this quick up and a quick down, which causes other issues in your body, creates kind of a instability or metabolic health issues, I guess you could say too, which leads to the insulin resistance, causes the weight gain, can potentially cause type 2 diabetes.
So we're just thinking
Index is a big part of the deciding factor here for sure.
absolutely. Guys, put a one in the comments if you're picking up any of this so far. Like, I hope this is bringing awareness to things. And what we're not saying is you can't eat like a banana for the rest of your life. Like, we're talking about best results for the goal of balancing your body for optimal health. And there's better, and then there's best, right? And then there's worse as well too. So, and I think about this because what you touched on fruit, I thought prior to understanding nutrition in this program, I thought things like banana. Let me tell you what my meal was that I thought was healthy. Sure, you're gonna laugh at me. I got a whole wheat, multi-grain whole wheat bread toast, and I would slab on it peanut butter because I thought that's high protein. And then I would put bananas because bananas obviously are healthy for you. Chop it up, put it on there. And I thought that was like the healthiest breakfast in the world. And then I looked at this list and I'm like, none of that is on here.
So that's very common, James. And in complete transparency, prior to doing this program, my breakfast almost every day consisted of a banana. And I think that's for convenience reasons too. It's just easy. And then also a granola bar, something like Nature's Valley. That is something that I would really put out there as almost a warning, is to not be fooled by good marketing. So many times there are products that we look at and we automatically think, oh, that looks healthy. Based on the marketing. Guys, I can promise you that those companies are spending a lot of money to trick you, use trendy words that make you think that something is healthy. The only way to really know is by turning that product around, looking at the nutrition label, and really looking at the ingredients, understanding ingredients. That's the way that you know. And the very best way to know that something's healthy is to get something that doesn't have a list of ingredients. We would call that whole foods. Then you don't have to worry about it.
Subtle sense. Guys, I'm curious. Put in the chat. Are you a label reader? If so, put a yes in the chat. If no, put a no in the chat. And I encourage the no's to start becoming a label reader because, and be warned, once you start reading, you will not be able to unsee what you see, So a good tip on just seeing does it have ingredients? Is it a whole food or not? And we look at this list too. And, I know bread and pasta and rice and I know those are not the best for me, but Sherry, is it that bad? Like, what do you think?
So great question. So, you mentioned earlier, good, better, best. And I think that we do have to be aware of that because, life, right? We're living life. We want to be able to enjoy things in life. So I think you have to look at, first of all, where you're at in your health journey. If you are in a place where you are actively trying to, excuse me, trying to lose weight, trying to, especially if you've gone to the doctor and the doctor has kind of given you that warning that you've got to get your A1C down, blood sugar levels are high. That's a time where you're going to really need to seek out the best options. red warning, red flag warnings, whatever you want to say, but that's the time to get really serious. Okay. Seek out those very best options. And those best options would include avoiding those things that you just talked about, James. We can label those things as carbs. But I do want to address carbs because there is so much confusion about carbs. I think we've all heard about diets. I hate that word diets, but that's a reality, is that a lot of people refer to it as a diet that would have you not to consume carbs. I'm going to tell you guys that carbs are not your enemy. Well, you
Mm.
have to understand the difference between excuse me, between the good carbs and the bad carbs. So my husband is actually on this call. I'm gonna ask him to bring me a glass of water right here. So Joey Key, if you would bring me a glass of water, that would be great. So good carbs and bad carbs. Okay, so your good carbs are going to be like your unrefined carbs. That's going to be things that are more like your whole foods that are classified as carbs. Things like sweet potato, carrots, quinoa, oats, apples. Those are your unrefined carbs. So even though they're carbs, they're good for you. We have to have carbs. Carbs help give us energy. Okay, they are important. We don't want to eliminate those. Thank you. We don't want to eliminate those. We need that energy. It's the bad carbs, the refined carbs that get us in trouble. Okay, there's very little nutritional value. That's going to be your sugary foods, sugar, pasta, rice, breads. The reason why these are bad carbs are because they cause your insulin levels to rise, your blood sugar to rise. And it's that up and down of the blood sugar that is going to cause those issues in your body. That's going to ultimately lead to, like I mentioned before, insulin resistance, weight gain, type 2 diabetes as well too.
That's
So
the other thing.
yeah, to answer your question, is it really that big of a deal? It really depends on where you're at in your journey. I
Mm.
never tell anybody, like you said earlier, that you can never, ever, ever again have a certain thing. Um, but if you are, like I said, in that place where you're actively trying to release weight, I would just encourage you to just stay focused on that foods list. Stay focused on those whole foods. Again, that list was made to give you the best results. And if you're on the program with the drops and you've invested financial, resources into buying the drops, and you've invested time into taking the drops 3 times a day, doing the, drop number 1, 10 minutes before your meal and waiting the allotted amount of time, and then bottle number 2. You're investing your time and your resources into that. Why would you not want to be able to give yourself the best opportunity to get the best results? If you don't know this, one of the things that can really help keep you focused is when your body is in a position where you're giving it good nutrition. Let's just say you're on a roll and you're getting results, and then all of a sudden you go eat a big slab of cake, or you eat a bowl of ice cream, or you eat a big bowl of pasta. What that does is it messes up the progression. What I was taught as part of the nutrition program that I coach for, and what I have taught many people, is that it causes a delay in your progress of 3 days.
Okay.
So you're doing all of this hard work, and then all of a sudden you think, oh, I'm going to have a cheat day. And we've all probably thought that, or maybe we've even been told that that's okay. But when you do that, you immediately kind of halt the brakes on your progress. And now you've lost 3 days. So let's just think about that for a second. So in an 8-week period of time, because when I coach nutrition classes, it's 56 days or 8 weeks. If I were to say, hey, one day a week, just going to delay your progress 3 days. So if you're losing 3 days of progress every week for 8 weeks, you've wasted 24 days out of 56. It's almost half of the time that you've wasted because you did that cheat. Now, I never felt like it was worth that. I'll be honest with you. And there's been many, many times that I have found myself even having that conversation. Is this really going to be worth it? Especially back 9 years ago, whenever I was experiencing my own health journey and weight loss journey. And most of the time it wasn't, because that's just temporary satisfaction, just usually a really quick satisfaction, and you're losing 3 days of progress. Makes
Wow.
a big difference in the thought process.
I feel so much regret and shame and guilt. I'm just kidding. No, awareness. What we're talking about is awareness, because these are the things that are so helpful to just think like, is it worth 3 days? Right. So the next
Yeah.
time you think about that pizza, the next time you think about that thing you shouldn't be eating, is it worth 3 days? That helps me as a mental check. And that's also why I think just typical, obviously, if we diet well, we exercise, we do the right things, over time, you're going to have a healthier lifestyle. And you can, if you want to release weight, you can. But that's also why I've loved incorporating the drops, because it just helps make this whole process, which sounds really, there's nothing fun about a diet. I agree with that word as well, too. This is a lifestyle, by the way. But like, what have you seen about the drops make this so different than only doing it without the drops?
Yeah. So, we have the clinical studies that show that if you follow that foods list by itself, you're going to get results. And I know personally, I've had people say to me, well, if I eat that way, I'm going to get results. I'm going to lose weight. And you're right about that. But adding in the drops in addition to that increases the amount of weight that you lose times two. And so it's more effective. Like, you just get a bigger bang for your buck, if you want to think about it that way. So it just gives you the ability to just excel. Especially if you can avoid those cheats, and you're not losing those 3 days, every couple of weeks, then you're really going to make great progress. The other thing, and I feel like I need to touch on this as well too, because I get asked this question a lot, is my personal transformation happened 9 years ago. I lost 50 pounds 9 years ago, and I've been able to maintain that weight loss for 9 years. So people ask me, have I stayed on the drops for the entire 9 years? The answer to that is no. I did not. And the reason is because 9 years ago, my goal was weight loss. And so once I achieved weight loss, and I adapted to a healthy lifestyle, meaning that I continued to stay on the foods list. Once I hit my weight loss goal, then I went into more of a maintenance phase, which, takes some time. You kind of move from that best choices to better choices, always shooting for the good choices for sure. But it does give you a little bit of wiggle room. But for me, that was my goal. However, fast forward 9 years, and this past year I turned 50. And there's probably a lot of people on here that can identify with all the fun things that happen whenever you reach that stage of life. Hormones start changing, and hormones aren't just something that is, that women deal with. Men deal with that as well too. And just all those changes for me put me in a place where I recognized that I needed the drops again in my life, but for a different reason this time. So now I'm on the drops, and I'm on those for hormone balance. So I started experiencing hot flashes at night, kind of night sweats, all sort of tied into the same thing, and waking up multiple times during the night. And so that's when I recognized that I needed to be back on the drops, and I continue to stay on the drops now because of that reason. So many benefits that come from taking the drops, whether it's weight loss, whether you're at a place in your life where you're struggling with hot flashes and all the hormonal changes. Really just great, great benefits all the way around.
How are you 50 years old? This is blown.
Ah! Turning 51. Yeah, turning 51. And you know what, guys? Man, I have so many conversations with people, especially women who, they're coming up on their 40th birthday or their 50th birthday, and there's dread. And, it's so hard for me to understand that because when the calendar hit January 1st last year and I knew I was going to be turning 50, I was so excited to celebrate having a milestone birthday like that. There's so many people who never see that age, first of all. And then there's people who come to those milestone birthdays and they're not happy in their life, either because of, just things that are happening in their life that are out of control. But I look at people that I graduated, school with. You can kind of gauge sometimes where you're at based on the people that you graduated with, and you look at them and think, okay, that one looks way older. Oh, that one looks younger. And I just felt like I had a reason to celebrate. I mentioned to James earlier that at the beginning of the year last year, I just felt very excited about my health and how I felt. And I was so thankful for that I made the decision to do something really, really big. Like a lot of people go on big trips and do all kinds of things for a big birthday, like a 50th birthday. But for me, I felt like I wanted to do something physically challenging and something that seemed impossible, something that was going to require commitment, really daily discipline. And so I had never, ever, ever been a runner in my life. In fact, had a chiropractic doctor who told me 25 years ago that because of a lower spine issue that I could never run. Literally said to me I could never run. And I took that and allowed that to be my excuse for a long time. What I realized when I lost that weight was that the weight and the inflammation that was in my body is what was causing me pain. And so as a result of losing weight and reducing inflammation, which happens through food choices, by the way, I used to take ibuprofen every day because I had a lot of pain. Haven't done that in the last 9 years. I mean, it's amazing. Great products and good nutrition will help you be able to overcome some of those things. No medical claims, but those are my personal experiences. But last year, I made the decision to run a half marathon for my birthday. And the morning of my 50th birthday, I woke up and decided that I would run. I trained all year for a half marathon that I registered for. The reason why I'm wearing a crazy costume is because I did that half marathon in Disney. Costumes just kind of come with it. But my half marathon was 3 weeks after my birthday, and I really wanted to run it the morning of my birthday. So I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, so excited to celebrate life. And at 5 o'clock that morning, I was running a half marathon by myself in our downtown in my area. And then 3 weeks later, I went to Disney and ran another half marathon. I had never run a race before in my life until doing a 5K just a few months ahead of this, just so I would know what to expect. So, guys, I tell you that to say this may seem like an impossible thing to you. It may seem like there's no way that I can change up and get rid of foods that I've loved my whole life, or to make these changes in my family. I'm here to tell you that you can. It just takes knowing what your why is. It takes making the commitment to making those changes, to planning, maybe doing a little bit of meal prep, making yourself try new foods. That's a big deal too. I hear so many people that say, I'm a picky eater. And so a lot of that is just trained. It's just habits and excuses. I'm being transparent there because we've allowed our mindset to just kind of sit in that place of having those excuses that allow us a way out, I suppose. But I just encourage you today to really dig in deep, find your why, take that foods list, put it on a copier, blow it up, do whatever you have to do, put it on your refrigerator. Really just make it an important part of every food choice that you make. Should be coming from that list. And if you do that, you're going to get the results that you want. And hopefully, 9 years later, you can be at the same place that I'm at in my life, celebrating health, doing things that I never thought that I would be able to do, posting a picture of myself in a bathing suit on social media, just being proud of that. And, and I don't have a perfect body, but I'm proud of what I've accomplished and where I'm at in this journey.
That's the key right there. There's no such thing as a perfect body. It's one that you
Uh,
forget about being in. I'm sure Joey is a happy man. Come on, Joey. Lucky man right there. I got a chance to meet him, but shares so much wisdom, so much knowledge here. Guys, I hope this gave you hope today. I hope this gave you inspiration. Cher, just thank you so much for your friendship. Thank you for just your joy. And thank you for keeping it straight. Like, I just love everything that you shared with us. But guys, let's throw a lot of love for Cherokee in the chat. Thank you, sister, for being on. My gosh, so good. I saw the your fellow coach and originator of the plan, Carrie Hicks, was on here as well too. So that was
Oh, I took a glance earlier at who was here, and yes, the creator of the program. I could not have made it to this point without her. I don't know if she's still on, but if so, she knows that I love and adore her dearly.
Yes, absolutely. Well, guys, take what Sherry gave us today and don't let that just fall by the wayside. If you're not on the drops already, get back with a friend that got to you about this and get started on that. You'll get the list. And just think, every single time you're about to take the next treat cheat, 3 days is it worth it right there, you know? So last quick announcement. Some of you might be interested or like, man, I saw in the chat, it's like people needed to hear this. Put a one in the comments if you could think of any one person that needed to hear this type of information, because this is what needs to transform the world, this type of proper education. I love to invite you back tomorrow, same place, same time, because there's also a unique opportunity side to this. Cherokee became not just someone that transformed herself, but she transformed other people's lives. She just won a trip to Bahamas, as well as a lot of others. Tomorrow night, same link, same time, we have Angel Whitmire, a super mom, also a health coach. But I think in like, I don't know, within 2 months or something, she won a trip to the Bahamas using a simple system, helping people with these drops, doing it from home with their busy lifestyle. If you want to hear how to do that, come back tomorrow, bring your peoples, will too. But other than that, Cherokee, thanks again one more time. Love you. That was so great. And guys, feel free to mute yourself and